So here we go, live on YouTube. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everyone is fit and enjoying their day. I am going to mute that. It's why I have my speakers on fairly low so you can't hear all the madness going on. I am just going to send a message. New group coming soon for members only. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, so stay tuned. And we can just kind of go from there. Alrighty. Let's see what's going on today. So get out my little dictation tool here. Oh my gosh, I had another one that was just like a blast. Let me see if I get, yeah, well, like that's the top of it, and it just keeps going and going and going like that. Ever ready battery, right? And it just keeps going. And there, hey, we finally made it to the end. Okay. So this is the story. Justice has arrived. Been getting justice a lot. But we have to put it into place. We have to make it happen. If we want balance, justice, equity, we can't have the pendulum continuing to swing from one extreme to the other. We're all going to have to say and take action on the thought of enough is enough. So we need to start with balance, and is it going to happen instantly? Absolutely not. We have a series of systems that have enabled a lack of balance, swinging from one extreme to the other, rarely slowing in the center. It doesn't slow in the center. It's okay for it to kind of, because you kind of test those boundaries. We just can't keep doing this, because we're going to end up doing that. We're going to end up on a worse than a swing. So it just never okay, so the center never stops. It just whips by all of us, and we're all dizzy. We're all out of breath, and we're suffering to catch a breath when it's adults trying to escape, and we edit, and we peak, and then we hang for a second on the extreme. You think about how a pendulum swings. And it swings and it stops for a second because it's changing its trajectory, right? So when it hangs for that split moment, it only continues to swing in the other direction. So this came in, wash, rinse, repeat. And we will not be able to break this cycle. It's not a circle, it's a cycle. And we're not going to be able to break it until we stand up as a collective and learn to clear and clean and cling to the fact that we need to have balance. So here's the hard part. We need to have balance without prejudice. Just because I disagree with what you have to say doesn't mean that you aren't balanced or that I'm not balanced. Are we now? I'm going to start considering that balance will now be a subjective thing. Is that what we need to start doing? So it's a whole different perspective, and it's big, and what we consider as truth or balance or even justice. We go back to a scenario that I had given a few people when I spoke about the idea of what justice is and how we can justify the actions that we may have. And it can kind of hopefully clear up some of the muddiness. Maybe we could say something like there's an aggressive dog in the neighborhood scenario. That's my whole thing. And I don't think I can read what I had. That was like really hot when I was dictating this. I think I was pacing. So if we had a dog that was kind of on the loose. Nobody laid claim to its ownership, and it was kind of terrorizing people when they walked through a particular area. and maybe it was nipping at some people's heels, or even if you had a dog, it caused a problem between the dog and this dog that was just loose, and maybe it bit somebody and they couldn't catch it. All right, and then well, it's just a nuisance, and it's anyway. So when it starts injuring people, I mean, like biting, or if it even killed someone else's dog, or if it had killed a human being. I think if it had killed a human being, this is hypothetical, by the way. If it killed a human being, then what are they going to do to that dog? They're going to be more aggressive with trying to capture the animal and putting it into a cage or jail. And what they're going to do is they're not going to rehabilitate the dog, because the dog doesn't have value. It has lessened its value to the community because it is attacking those individuals in the community. So when you take the dog, what are they going to do with the dog? They're probably going to euthanize it. They're going to kill it, right? Because we're now feeling this justice, and we have to have tit for tat. We have to have, that's a sewing term, by the way, if you didn't know. So from the community standpoint, the dog is going to be taken out, destroyed, eliminated. It's not going to be a problem anymore. So if you're that dog sitting in that cage, you're going to sit there going, I'm ticked, I'm peeved, I was trying to protect my territory, they encroached in my space, and who do they think they are with encroaching on my space? I'm not saying the dog is right, I'm not saying the people are right, I'm saying this is about keeping things in perspective without judgment. If the dog is unable to be rehabilitated, it's going to be up to those around them to figure out what they really want to do with it, right? But ultimately, that's probably going to end up, going to be destroyed in this particular paradigm that we're in. This is just a scenario to give you a perspective of perspectives and what the difference is between objective and subjective. You do need to protect your community. You want to live safely in your community. And if the animal cannot be trained or controlled or rehabilitated in some way, or even adopted out to be rehabilitated, then they are going to eliminate the dog. Just a scenario. That is the justice. So this is, and I guess technically it's not about justice or injustice. It's 100% about perspective. And because it's hypothetical, it will hopefully have a better understanding of what perspective is, and what some of the things that are being pushed on humanity right now. It could be what we're all experiencing on every single level of awareness. The spiritual, physical, emotional, psychological, financial, all of it is being pressed on us by someone else's end or someone else, and they are feeling justified to do so. My question is, do we feel justified? That's the big question. Do we feel justified in letting them push us around? We need to take things into consideration as to what we're doing here and why. We need to figure out what it is that we need to do individually and as a collective to make this work for everybody. This isn't about some esoteric thing. This is about something that is fundamental to who and what we are, and most don't even have a freaking clue as to what that is. I'm just beginning to figure things out, and if you think you know who and what you are, most are going to have to try, think again. And even if you do have a greater esoteric knowledge than most people, think again, because something's always going to come up. So we have to check and recheck as if we're being pushed outside and outside of our comfort zone. It's okay. That's kind of like what I said, we need to try and keep it centered. And this is and we may have to readjust what that center is. Because we might learn something about ourselves, and it might come up that's what needs to happen. So if we're not, are we a dead society? Is this the next step? So the John Denver song popped in my head, A Country Road. This is hard. It's hard, and it's very deep, 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 and unexpressed, I think, in most people. So fast forward about 72 hours, 48 hours, and I'm usually up as early as 11 p.m. after going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. That was a good one. So yeah, I'm up at about 11 o'clock at night, and I end up sometimes being able to fall back asleep, but lately it's not been. I've been falling back asleep maybe about 3 or 4 in the morning. And it's not like I'm up and around and doing things. And it's not like ruminating. I just think about different things. It's like just processing things, but I'm very much awake. So it was night before last, I had started falling back asleep, and I woke back up, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, and I get up about a little after 5 in the morning. So I got up, went to the bathroom, came back, cover up, and within a couple of seconds after my head hit that pillow, it was like being pulled. It's hard to even express what that felt like. It was not just being pulled, but it was also being enveloped. And it wasn't my physical body that was enveloped, it was my mind spirit was enveloped. So what I immediately saw when I literally, my head went on the pillow, I closed my eyes, and it was like that I saw this white cloud, and it filled my scope of vision. I had my eyes shut, filled my scope of vision. And in that white cloud was, do I explain it? Okay, I'm just going to start this from the beginning. Everyone is waking up to different aspects of reality, not to mention who and what we really are. And this is a dream a couple nights ago. I had been out for a couple of hours in the morning. I took a couple of seconds for me to be pulled into this bright space. A cloud quickly formed in the center of that cloud. It felt multidimensional. Instantaneously after realizing what I was looking at, a square, perfect square, opened in the center of the cloud. It wasn't a black hole, and it looked like it had significant depth to it. Again, after realizing what I was looking at, a stick, blunt-ended and straight, almost like a cane, was poking through it, and almost like it was trying to either determine the depth or the size of the hole, and maybe it was trying to determine both. It was only today, while I'm doing this recording, just before I clicked the go button, that I realized that vision was a representation of the exploring or our exploring nature. That humanity, at least that portion of humanity that is waking up, is exploring what it means to be us. And those of us who are willing to reclaim, rediscover, and reconnect to who and what we are, and shed this illusion, the projection, if you will, that we are experiencing right now. Perhaps we can have this room cleared, my room cleared, and our minds cleared, and expand that window that I saw in that cloud. Expand the window. And I don't even really know what that means, because immediately I think of the cloud also expands. but the window also, because the cloud is that structure for a portal. That's kind of what I saw anyway. So when we clear this and expand this window of opportunity, we are going to be able to discover the greatness of the true self. And this isn't about breaking the matrix. We don't want to do that. Or even breaking free of this thing they're calling the matrix. This is about reclaiming, re-alchemizing, restructuring, restoring, and reblending all of what we are, including that thing that we call the shadow. Because if we're all one, that shadow is part of us as well. How can we not survive without the other? I've seen plenty of movies that, you know, they got that bad guy, and that's what they're doing, right? They're being the bad guy. They are our shadow self, all right? So I'm about solutions. What can we do? What is the best thing for us to do, say, feel, and motivate ourselves into action? Because it's not just about the thought. Not going to sit there and pray and you know, strictly love and light. You have to take the action. We should be good at taking action. We just have to integrate. That's the masculine side. We have to integrate that with the feminine side, the action with compassion. Okay, having said all of that, I am going to flip over here to the board, and let's see what's going to be the most helpful for us to be able to do that, right? What are we going to be able to do to make this all happen? I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm actually going to turn the mic off because I have to blow my nose, and I don't think that that's a particularly nice thing to have to experience, and I'll switch the camera over. Give me 1 sec. Thanks so much. Alrighty, let's get this puppy into motion. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee. I'm going to roll the microphone over to where the thingy dingy is, and we'll see what happens. Excuse me. That wasn't a little sip. Oh, that was a big gulp. Alrighty. And I don't pray to angels or to anything that other people might call God. I go to the true source, the one. The true source, the one, the all. And this is where we are all being fed from. I feel very protected, and I hope you are doing the same. So let's clear this of anything that might impede the communication that we can glean from the all. Thank you so much. I have to get a bigger bowl. That one's too light. Excuse me. Man, that one sneeze, that just did me in, right? Holy crow. A little sip here. Alrighty. I hope this is helpful. Seriously, I probably get more out of this than whoever is watching these. But I just would love to see people get the help they need. I think things are going to get wackadoodle if we don't take things by the gonads. You know, they say take them by the horns. I think you're You're not gonna tick it off. You're gonna yeah. We need to take command of who and what we are. 3. We're gonna get 3 from here. There you go. I don't read reversals. I was okay. It's kind of different. And don't sit around and wait, man. We gotta take some action. Know that there is the hand of God that reaches towards us to help us through all this crazy bit of business, and it's up to us to manifest that, right? Alrighty, so we're talking about balancing. What can we do to balance? And I mean, this has to be practical things, right? This is about relationships. This is about our money. Ooh, yes. This is about every aspect of life and what we're trying to accomplish. Okay. So we'll do these first, and then we're probably gonna go here, and then here, unless I get something different. So appreciating what we have can open our eyes to not just the feelings of gratitude, but it's also about taking care of those things. Because the girl is loving on the cow, but the woman is feeding the flamingos. So, there was something about flamingos, right? This is 34. Things around us are always providing potent and relevant medicine if we choose to pay attention. Symbols that appear more than once, we need to start taking heed of that. Some people are very much in touch with like their like a totem. They call them totem animals. I don't. I just say if that's something out in nature, I don't have to have a totem. Totem to me is something man-made. I don't need something man-made. I enjoy the what do you call it? The nature, the natural. Even these little diamonds are faceted. The light's coming through. It's like these guys are outside, but this is a very much an inside thing. Oh my gosh, it's like the dome, right? It's the illusion of being outside, that we are not totally outside because we're still inside the firmament. So just acknowledge where you are and who you are, and maybe do a little research on how you can help support those who are providing support to you, and showing gratitude towards any guidance that you might be receiving. This is a very healing process. Okay, well, if this is going on YouTube, I'm going to have to cover her up. Oh my goodness, this is so silly. I know it's just a side thing, but this is about healing. So, you know, and these individuals, the ones doing the healing and the ones being healed, it's vulnerable. It's a vulnerable position for everyone concerned and everyone involved. This came up before too. This is the gatekeepers. So the gatekeepers, I think, according to the author here, is that we're being hindered. We're being stopped short, I call it short sheet. You know, where your feet are exposed and cold. And you know, when your feet are cold, you kind of feel it all over. It's definitely hard to, you know, get warm. You don't typically get warm. It's harder. And we need to realize that we need to just go for it because it's our birthright. It's our birthright. We don't need gatekeepers, but we can be the ones blocking ourselves. It's not just others block us. We a lot of times will block ourselves. And if we need to figure out how to do that, rest, relax, recover. I mean, I think that there are some theories that this dude has died, and maybe we need to die to this projection and realize the capabilities that we truly do have. And sometimes, you know, when we have that temporary death, that sleep, that thing we call sleep, we can reconnect to ourselves if we go to bed with an intention. And just remind ourselves and ask for messages, because I've been trying to do that. Asking for input and be specific who you're going to want a message from. It's really hard to vet those resources or those sources that we have when we're asleep. So you have to make sure you're getting that. Yes. Yes, and with passion. Okay? Yes, with passion. I'll look things up. Wow. I don't know. For some reason this came up. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to put that out for everybody because that feels like it's relevant for someone. But this Ace of Wands is like... we might have to be creative with our dreaming, and I think dreams are going to be important because that's when we're going to do the real work. Is so we have to prepare for work. If you have a job and you leave the house, or you have some routine or ritual that you do before you leave to work or before you start your work. I know I do. I clear the area and I let you guys see part of that, but I start sitting down here usually sometimes as early as 30 minutes. So this is a beginning, and it's the source. So when we're able to abandon this hindering of this reality through our dream work, this can help us facilitate the, integrating the shadow or doing the shadow work. Yeah, it can be kind of a mystery, but look at how powerful we are. That's us, right? And this is employing that science of wisdom. I like her. That says 2, but it looks like 1-1. Roman numerals. But yeah, there's a lot of wisdom, but she's they say, well, she keeps a secret, she doesn't divulge, blah, blah, blah. No, a lot of times it's just silence, and that's part of the integration process. There's silence here. That's part of the integration process. Okay, I definitely need to have this one covered. All right, it's the Lovers, and it's about a decision, a contract, it's about beauty, it's about overcoming, and it's about natural beauty and an integration. And they're saying that, we in our true self are male and female, and we split when we come into this particular place. You can put whatever tag on it you want. Realm, dimension, reality, because I think it's layers of all of those things or aspects. I have to find something to put over their bodies because, she's more exposed, as far as what they want to see anyway. Right? I have to put this down carefully. I don't want to get her exposed or him. Maybe you can have like a Fred Flintstone thing happening there. But this is about resting, relaxing, recovering, integrating, realizing that it's going to create a place for us to have a new beginning and starting something new, and it doesn't have to be drastic or dramatic. These could be little things, a little at a time. And this is also about recognizing multiple aspects. There's two dudes here as well. Let's not hinder ourselves from the integration process. We're in the middle of doing this healing, right? And this feels like this is the Three of Wands. And usually they're cards of action, but the Three of Wands, dude is in an observation mode. I don't feel that that is us as humanity. And he's looking across the golden seas to another land. So for some of us, it might mean a crossing over. That's not necessarily death, but it could be a death of a type, a change, and nothing is truly destroyed. I did a video with Stone, I believe I called it something about death. Death is definitely an illusion, and it's strategic. So this dude's got, this is Seven of Swords. He's got a smile on his face. This is about creativity. We are in a battle, but we're in a battle that we see as others, but it's a battle within ourselves as well. You know, sometimes we don't like to do the things that need to be done in order for us to make the good things happen in our life. Yeah. I don't use this deck very often. It has a tendency to be a little on the dark side, but we're all about integrating that. And I'm kind of a sucker for, I like this card. This is kind of a cool card. It's Oath. And that's committing to ourselves, right? That's a real commitment to self. But I like it too because it's got like a shiny silvery edge on it. Anyway, that's just me. I'm kind of a magpie when it comes to cards. I got another Oracle deck, I think, or I can't remember if it was an Oracle. I will put things in like a shopping basket and I'll just leave it there. And it's like, oh, when I go back to that site, it's still sitting in the basket, so it's like, yeah, I'll either delete it or I'll say, you know, maybe in a few weeks. Or, okay, I could save up for that. Maybe in a few weeks. It kind of puts it into perspective as to what we really need. So the first card that came out was Hope. So don't lose hope. And I know I've heard a couple of people say, especially Joe Dispenza, that hope is a beggar. But I also feel like if you don't keep having to repeat that, and you could probably change that into looking forward to and with expectation. That's kind of a different way to frame that idea, that it's a bit of a mystery as to when it will arrive, but it's also a reminder of taking action to make it happen, right? Because this is a definitely thoughts and words type of a thing, right? I'm going to look up to see what she's got to say on this obedience, because this, to me, this obedience is somewhat tied to maybe this contract that we are maybe trying, I don't want to say we're breaking it, we're changing the contract, and it's not something that we were fully, there was no disclosure. There was little or no disclosure, and this is what's happening now. And I feel like in order to, because those scales on that card are not in balance, it feels like that we need to take that back and be obedient to ourselves, and it cannot be blind obedience. We cannot have blind obedience. I kind of feel like that there are some things that, yes, we do have to have this obedience and trusting that ourselves, that we are going to make those micro adjustments that might need to be made. Appreciate that discernment that we can have. All right. Yeah, and look at that. That's the wands. That's this one. We're being watched. Some of them good, some of them not so good. But ultimately, we have to be the ones to call in the helpers. Because the archons are not here as our friends. The archons are here to control us. So, and they're being ruled by the demiurge, and they're perfectly happy with that arrangement. And if we're not, we need to stop having that blind obedience and listen for the call. Or, how about this? How about we make the call? How about we make the call? Right? We need to make that call. That's where we're going to have the change. This is the tower. This is the tower of change. And this tower is not crumbling. It's old and it's withstanding. And it looks like the winds are the ones that are making the change. It's the winds of change. It's spring here in United States. And even in the fall, we will get those winds. That's 16. So things happen really fast, and they are going to happen fast. So don't blink. Don't be unaware of what's going on. And we're in the middle of a paradigm shift. And it might feel like suddenness, but this has actually been going on, but it happens quick once we realize it. And it might be resultant of an epiphany. Unexpected events will be very interesting and offer opportunities for positive transformation if we remain present with our eyes open. So this is we cannot have our eyes shut. We can't be her. If we want to stay in that energy, that's going to be a rough way to live your life, because we got some things we have to be not hyper aware, because that is going to affect our judgment. Not being judgmental, but it's going to affect our judgment. Yeah, and it's going to require balance. Balance. She's out of balance because she can't see. And if we need this to happen to blow us back in, we're gonna be reestablished. We're gonna be grounded. We're gonna be solid. We're gonna answer this call. We're gonna be aware of our need for being strategic with the eye on the prize. This all of a sudden is like an eye of the prize. And it might start with something very small, but it's gonna be that snowball. It's gonna be that one little, wow, what's that one thing where he's got his finger in the dike, right? He pulls that out, you're cooked. But it's going to start little. There's going to be a small message. Listen for those small messages that's going to help us individually do what needs to be done. I'm getting a lot of threes, and in my travels, I've been seeing fours like you wouldn't believe. Even today, in my car, on the road, on other people's license plates. It's been amazing that, wow, I just keep seeing fours, and I think we all need to be doing that as well. We need to be a little more aware of, okay, what was I thinking of just before I saw that sign, that symbol, that synchronicity. Yeah. I know it's telling me I'm being impatient. Yes, that's me. I want this to happen. But if we're not ready for that to happen, we might feel ready, but clearly we are not if it's not happening. All of a sudden it's gotten very warm in here. Okay, a change in the wind. So this is a change, this is a change. Change in the wind. The change in the wind is definitely going to be blowing. No? Okay. Change in the wind is going to be blowing. Milk and honey. We're gonna have that. We're gonna have the help that we need. We're gonna have the help that we need. Wow. We always have the help that we need. Sometimes help that we need, we just have to remember to ask. We don't have to necessarily ask some individual, family, friend, neighbor, coworker, employer. We don't have to necessarily ask any of those. We can ask ourselves. We can ask our higher selves. We can ask the source. Because our higher selves is the integrated part, I feel, that this is this. We are embodying this. Don't get me into all that, the in-between stuff, because I think that's a manifestation of our current culture. And we it's really, really tough for those individuals who don't feel connected to one or the other or both. I feel very drawn to both. This has not got anything to do with sexual preference. It's about being drawn to a real human being, because we're all broken. All of us. There is not one that has not been attacked and manipulated here. We're all in the same boat, as it were, for that. So let's see how we can be helped, maybe in a material sense, a relationship sense. Let's see how that works for us here. Usually these are pretty forgiving as far as, Nope, okay. I tried to say, okay, is this for you? Nope, it's not. Just keep moving. Don't be in a rush. And that's the other thing too. Don't be in a rush. I know I have a tendency to be very patient. And impatient, excuse me. But as far as results within myself, and this is the hard part, is maybe I have patience with myself or not having patience with myself. I'm getting this all twisted up. I have very little patience for myself, very unforgiving to self. But with others, it's almost like a bottomless pool. Lots of patience, because I can see where someone is struggling to maintain their dignity, for lack of a better way of putting it. One more. Nope. One more. Whoa. Okay. And that will be the conclusion of our relationship here. That's what we're gonna do. This is about relationship. So it is gonna feel risky. It is gonna feel risky. Life is worth the risk, and when we win, we prosper. And this whole idea of this concept of losing, we will gain wisdom. So there is no lose. There is no losing. There is only wisdom gained and prosperity. Wisdom gained. Isn't she wisdom? And when we do this, we'll manifest energy. We'll manifest money. We will feel accomplished in reaching goals. And if we need a helping hand, that helping hand, if it's outside of us, will manifest. It will manifest. And it's going to manifest maybe in a lucky break. When we take that risk, when we take the gamble, and this even says risky business, with surprises, right? It says risky business. Business tools. And we have to use the tools. We might have a garage full of tools. If we don't use them, they're useless. That sounds kind of, simple, but that's the fact. This is going to result in our living well. It might have something to do with food. We may be able to either embody being our own provider, or we will have someone who will be providing to us. It would be one person. And I don't know if we're going to cause more work for ourselves or for someone else, and maybe it's going to be both. But we're gonna be able to manifest big time, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Thanks again for stopping by. Do like, share, and subscribe. Reach out to me. I'm gonna try and do something with this whole groups things. On the 30th, I took the day off of the day job, and I do have other things that need to be taken care of. But I'm hoping that is going to, that day off is going to be able to have me set up that group that I've been trying to, make happen. So I hope everyone is well, doing well. Please reach out, like, share, subscribe, all that other kind of fun stuff. And we'll hope to see you next week.